One thing that amazes me as I look back at my 10-year long drinking career is how I had the ability to be so high functioning while I was in a constant state of lack of sleep, hungover, dizzy, constantly swallowing chunks in my throat, heart racing, palm sweating, constantly in this brain fog, always chasing a high, horrible mental health, horrible physical health. But yet, in the midst of all that, I was still able to meet a majority of my responsibilities, to the point that if you would have met me when I was actively drinking and in that state, you would never even think I had a drinking problem. To the point that when I quit, people who knew me, when they heard that I had quit, a lot of their response was, I didn't even know you had a problem with drinking. Back in 2022, when the pandemic hit, that is definitely when my drinking escalated. And that's when I really saw how I had the ability to be so high functioning. But all the while, being so high functioning just fed that lie that I was trying to convince myself of, that I didn't have a problem, because someone who had a problem with alcohol wouldn't be able to function at the level that I was able to function at. And in my mind, I always had this checklist of what a true alcoholic was. Have you lost a job? Have you got a DUI? Have you lost a relationship? Well, my drinking habits never led me to check off one of those boxes. So I always thought, well, I'm okay. I don't have a problem. And sometimes I think, had I not been so high functioning, like maybe had I gotten a DUI, which I should have had plenty of those, I just never got caught, or if my spouse had left me, or if I got a job, would I maybe have quit drinking sooner? Did being so high functioning keep me in addiction even longer? But in the summer of 2022, it all came to a head, and I was noticing where I wasn't able to function at the level that I had been able to function at. I was canceling work appointments. I was not showing up to events that I would normally show up to. I was starting to slack in many areas of my life, and that ability that I had had just to push through everything, no matter what I felt, both physically and mentally, it just wasn't there anymore. I couldn't bounce back from 5-day benders like I used to be able to. And I was seeing where the drinking just had to keep going, and it had to become more and more, because I couldn't take those little breaks in between my binges anymore. And I can see where I was overcompensating by being so high functioning, because it eased the constant guilt and shame and regret and just all that emotional stuff that I felt, because deep down inside, I knew at the end of the day I had a problem.